The PAC DP is being built to do one thing: kill anything that enters Russian airspace. This aircraft, often called the MiG-41, is designed as the replacement for the MiG-31 Foxhound, the fastest interceptor in service today. Where the MiG-31 reached Mach 2.8, the PAC DP is planned to go beyond Mach 4, fast enough to chase down hypersonic missiles, stealth bombers, or even satellites in low orbit. It is not a multi-role fighter. The PAC DP is a weapon. Russia's goal is to field an interceptor that can protect its borders against the most advanced threats in the world. With a projected service ceiling of 40,000 meters, it could launch long-range hypersonic missiles capable of striking targets more than 1,500 kilometers away. Reports even suggest tests with laser weapons to destroy drones or disable incoming missiles in flight. The aircraft is expected to include 6th-generation features, stealth shaping, AI-assisted avionics, and networked warfare systems that connect it with satellites, ground radars, and other fighters. In theory, the PAC DP would not just defend, it would dominate by intercepting threats before they ever reach Russian skies. But Russia is not alone in this race. The United States is preparing its 6th-generation NGAD fighter, designed to carry lasers, electronic warfare systems, and hypersonic missiles. China is developing the J-36 for the same role, while Europe is building the FCAS, and Japan leads the GCAP project. Every major power wants control of the air in the 2030s and beyond. For Russia, the PAC DP is more than an aircraft. It is a statement. Moscow still intends to compete at the highest level of military technology. Whether it succeeds or fails, the PAC DP represents Russia's claim to the 6th-generation battlefield. PAC DP is being built for speed, altitude, and raw destructive power. The MiG Design Bureau has one mission: replace the MiG-31 Foxhound with an interceptor that can face the threats of the 2030s and 2040s. The airframe is expected to use a blended fuselage with sharp edges for reduced radar cross-section, while still maintaining the size needed for huge fuel tanks and oversized weapons bays. This will not be a small, agile dogfighter like the Su-35 or F-16. It will be a heavy interceptor with the reach of a bomber and the speed of a rocket. Russian sources claim the PAC DP could exceed Mach 4. If true, this makes it faster than any current Western fighter. At those speeds, a target 1,000 kilometers away can be intercepted in minutes. The aircraft is also projected to operate at altitudes close to 40 kilometers, near the edge of space. That means it could track and attack low-orbit satellites, something no operational fighter in the world can do today. The weapons are what give the PAC DP its bite. The most likely missile is a next-generation version of the R-37M, currently the longest-range air-to-air missile in service, capable of hitting targets at 400 kilometers. A new hypersonic missile, rumored under development, may extend that range to over 1,000 kilometers. These missiles would allow the PAC DP to shoot down AWACS, tankers, or stealth bombers long before they approach Russian airspace. There are also reports that Russia is exploring a laser weapon for the aircraft. Mounted in the nose or belly, such a system would be designed to blind reconnaissance satellites or burn incoming cruise missiles. Even if it is experimental, the fact that Russia is considering it shows how far they want to push this design. The cockpit and avionics will rely heavily on AI systems. The PAC DP is expected to integrate sensor fusion, combining data from satellites, ground radars, and other aircraft into a single tactical picture. In practice, that means the pilot will not be flying blind. He will see every threat, every missile trajectory, every drone swarm, all filtered and presented by onboard AI. This is the standard for 6th-generation fighters worldwide, and Russia knows it must compete. Now the comparisons. The United States is preparing its NGAD fighter, unofficially called the F-47. That aircraft is expected to feature adaptive engines capable of extreme efficiency and thrust, advanced stealth, and onboard lasers. America's budget dwarfs Russia's, meaning NGAD will likely enter service earlier and in larger numbers. Its focus, however, is air dominance, taking control of contested skies. The PAC DP is more specialized, interception and destruction. China's J-36, also under development, is designed to counter both US and Russian 6th-generation projects. It will likely emphasize stealth and mass production with China's industrial power behind it. Unlike Russia, China can afford to build hundreds. That alone creates a challenge for Moscow, which may only be able to field a few dozen PAC DPs at best. Europe's FCAS and Germany's NGF under the Franco-German-Spanish program focus on joint operations with drones and networked warfare. Japan, the UK, and Italy are building GCAP, another multinational sixth-generation project. These programs may not match the speed of the PAC DP, but they will emphasize stealth, sensors, and integration across entire fleets. This is where Russia's design philosophy is unique. The PAC DP is not about subtlety. It is about brute force, speed, altitude, and long-range kills. If the West builds aircraft that sneak past radar, Russia wants an aircraft that shoots them down before they can get close. Of course, the problems are obvious. The cost of such a machine will be enormous. A single aircraft could cost over $200 million, far beyond what Russia typically spends on fighters. Developing hypersonic missiles, AI systems, and directed energy weapons is not cheap. Sanctions and limited production capacity raise serious doubts. Yet Russia has no choice. The MiG-31 will age out of service by the 2030s, and without a replacement, Moscow loses its most important long-range interceptor. The PAC DP is their answer. Whether they can afford it or not, the program represents survival for Russian aerospace defense. In the end, the PAC DP is a gamble. If it works, it will be the fastest, highest-flying, most lethal interceptor in the world. If it fails, Russia will be left behind while the United States, China, and Europe move into the sixth-generation era without them. The PAC DP is more than a prototype. It is a question of whether Russia can still compete in the highest league of military aviation. The jet's design promises sound terrifying on paper: Mach 4 speed, near-space altitude, hypersonic missiles, and possibly directed energy weapons. But building such a machine takes money, time, and an industrial base strong enough to deliver. Cost is the first battlefield. A modern fifth-generation fighter like the Su-57 already costs Russia more than $50 million per aircraft. Sixth-generation programs in the West are projected at $200 to $300 million each. The NGAD, for example, could easily exceed $300 million per plane. If Russia wants to field even 50 PAC DPs, the bill could run past $10 billion, not including research and development. For a country under sanctions, with limited access to advanced electronics and engines, that price is crushing. Then comes production. The United States can call on Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, and dozens of subcontractors. China has entire state-owned factories running day and night. Europe and Japan pool resources through multinational programs. Russia relies on MiG and Sukhoi, firms capable of great engineering but constrained by smaller budgets and shrinking workforces. At best, Russia may be able to produce a limited batch of PAC DPs, just enough to patrol critical areas like the Arctic, the Far East, and around Moscow itself. But limited numbers do not mean limited impact. Even a squadron of PAC DPs could complicate NATO strategy. U.S. bombers like the B-2 Spirit or the upcoming B-21 Raider rely on stealth. If the PAC DP can combine speed, long-range sensors, and hypersonic interceptors, those bombers would face a serious threat when approaching Russian airspace. The same applies to U.S. and European AWACS aircraft, which provide command and control. Taking them out from 1,000 kilometers away changes the balance of battle instantly. China is another consideration. While Moscow and Beijing speak of partnership, history shows that great powers eventually become rivals. The J-36 program aims for stealth and high production numbers. If China floods the skies with sixth-generation fighters, Russia's limited force of PAC DPs would be one of the few counters, fast enough to intercept and lethal enough to threaten. Strategically, the PAC DP fits into Russia's doctrine of layered defense. The first line is ground-based air defenses, like the S-400 and S-500. The second line is interceptors like the MiG-31, and soon the PAC DP. The third is offensive deterrence, missiles and bombers. Together, these create the picture Russia wants to show. No Western aircraft can approach without facing annihilation. But there is a difference between doctrine and reality. Developing adaptive engines for Mach 4 flight is a massive challenge. Sustained hypersonic speed destroys metal and electronics under extreme heat. Cooling systems, composite materials, and advanced turbine blades are required. technologies that Russia may not have in sufficient quality. Directed energy weapons are even harder. Mounting a laser on a fighter requires compact, high-output power sources, something only the US is known to be testing seriously. Even so, Russia has a history of surprising the world. Few believed the MiG-25 Foxbat could reach Mach 3 in the 1960s. Few believed the MiG-31 would become the fastest long-range interceptor in service. Both did. The PAC DP may follow that same pattern, an aircraft designed with brutal simplicity, cutting-edge speed, and a mission that does not require perfection in every area. For the United States, the PAC DP is a challenge to air supremacy. For China, it is a reminder that Moscow intends to stay relevant. For Europe, it complicates NATO planning. For Russia, it is a symbol, proof that the nation can still produce aircraft that terrify its enemies. And now you know what the PAC DP really is, Russia's attempt to build the fastest, highest-flying, deadliest interceptor on the planet. The race for sixth-generation dominance is already underway, with the US, China, Europe, and Japan all building their own machines. But if Moscow manages to turn the PAC DP from blueprint into reality, the balance in the skies could shift overnight. What do you think? Can Russia actually deliver a Mach 4 interceptor with hypersonic missiles and laser weapons, or will the West outpace them? Tell us in the comments. And if you want to see more breakdowns of the world's most advanced jets, missiles, and military technology, make sure you hit subscribe right now. New videos are coming every week, and you don't want to miss the next one.